Hey y'all, it's your girl Stacey the Intuitive, and today I wanted to come here and co-mingle my energies with you guys on some topics that have just been made privy to me at this time by, God and the divine. So I have actually been on a little bit of a fast of what I'll call it. I haven't really been indulging in anything that takes me away from my personal energy. So I've really just been on a fast of anything that would serve as what we would call a quote unquote addiction. So, like social media or just anything that takes my attention away from the self and going within. Um, that's just kind of what I'm calling it right now because it's been very transformative for me. It's like I've given something up in exchange for something else. I have been one of those people who is really riddled with worry in my day-to-day life, and I think a lot of people can overall resonate with this. And so through like my day-to-day, since I've done this, a lot of things have been brought to my attention. A lot of different energies have been brought to my awareness, and so I'm coming here to just talk about that. So once again, feel free to commingle your energy here with me if you would like. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if this resonates, or if you find that you're experiencing some of the same types of energies, or if you feel that you can integrate this. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter at Stacey the Intuitive, as well as Instagram. So, guys, let's get into it, all right? So today I decided to take myself out and just do something very special for myself. I find that these things are really important, but I do kind of like neglect the need to do this quite often. And so today was one of those days where I slept in a little bit. I did a little bit of meditation early in the day, and then I was like, all right, we're gonna get out. We're gonna do something nice for you because you deserve it. You've been doing so well on your fast, and all of this. I say it's a fast because a lot of us don't realize just how consuming it can be to be on social media. But for me, it wasn't even really social media. It was mostly about the people that I was like focusing my attention on in social media and all of that. Like social media, whatever, it's whatever, but it's more so my intentions in being on social media, my intentions in interacting with certain people and stuff like that I really had to get away from, because I realized it was coming from a place of like limiting behaviors, limiting beliefs that I didn't know that I held until I started the fast, right? So today I decided to take myself out, and I set the intention for it to just be like a learning day, a miraculous day, a very special day for me and stuff like that. And let me tell you, it was very special. Like when it began, it was really good. Like I was driving around, good music, the sun was shining, had my sunglasses on, taking them off sometimes to soak in the sun and all that. And then it was just good vibes. And I went to go get this food. It was very easy retrieval. And then I got to the location that I wanted to go get my food from. That I wanted to go sit at to eat my food. And if you guys don't know, I'm from the Chicagoland area. So there's this really nice spot where you can kind of see the skyline as well as the water. So I really wanted to be around the water too, to kind of cleanse my spirit. And so I was like having my lunch there and stuff like that, sitting in the car with car off, playing some lo-fi music while I ate and just kind of like soaking in the moment. And it was going really well. It was really enjoyable. I really liked it. But about 20 minutes in, the police came and was telling everyone to leave, I guess, because people couldn't be there at that time. And it was just super annoying. Like, I really took that, and it genuinely annoyed me. And this is where the lesson comes in. And things like that do conventionally annoy me. Like, I'm not going to lie. They do. Like, that kind of thing would really get me. I'm like, so, like, I got into this mentality where I was just very much like, really? Like, this world is so limiting that you can't even be at nature spots in peace? Like, these things are being gate kept from us? Like, it was like this larger realization to me about my just disdain for the societal structure, which is conventionally a topic for me in my day-to-day life. Like, I think about this quite often. I have a severe disdain for the societal structure and the way that things are ran. But teetering on the edge of that, one of my biggest dreams in this world is to, be one of those spiritual forces who changes that in some way or whatever, just light working. I feel like if you're watching this, like you probably are attuned to some of those light worker type ways, abilities, whatever. And so you probably get that frequency. And so that would have been the frequency that I should have been on, but instead I went into the illusion. And this is where it all started to unravel to me, which in the moment I didn't know it was unraveling. But then I got home, I did a little bit of a meditation, and then I came back to self, and it all unraveled. Okay, so let's just get into it. essentially I was annoyed that I had to move, and I was like, okay, whatever, like let me pack up my food and we'll go find another space. Already an annoyance. It seems like as soon as my thought processes switched, that is exactly what I started attracting, which I've become pretty good at, like, being mindful of my thoughts and like attracting stuff and stuff like that. But of course, like, I'm human, so I'm having this human experience, so like things get in the way. So I got very much into that third dimensional, resonance place where when I was driving around, people were driving so badly. I was getting very annoyed, getting the road rage vibes, like, doing the whole shebang, guys. Like, I was really in that, if you're a driver, then, like that element that you get into when you're surrounded by bad drivers continuously doing bad things and you just get so annoyed. That's where I was. And then I decided, okay, whatever, I'll just let my intuition guide me and hopefully we'll find a spot. Driving around, getting more annoyed, getting more agitated until finally I was just like, you know what? Let's go home. Let's just go home. And I ended up going home, listening to my music, but my vibration was very different than where I had initially began, and that was a little bit annoying, right? It was a little bit annoying to be in that place when I set such good intentions for the day. So I got home and I was like, you know what? Honestly, like, I'm not feeling the best right now. Like, I don't feel in the highest vibrations, and that's annoying. And I was really honest with myself, which has been a big part of just my journey in general, is just like, like making sure that your truth is the only one that's resounding and that you're not forcing yourself to feel something else and that you're not dwelling in that place. I was like, you know what? Okay, we're going to meditate, but let's just be real. Like, I'm not in a good energy right now. It wasn't that I was in a terrible energy, but it just wasn't where I wanted to be, right? And so from that place, I meditated, right? And then something came into my mind and it said, the literal message was, you don't have to involve yourself. And I was like, and I was listening to a song on the way home that plays that. And it's a song I play often, but I've never, that lyric was playing in my mind too. Like, don't have to involve yourself. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, don't have to involve myself. So then after a little bit more introspection, I was like, oh, it's all hitting me. I involved myself in the illusion. So the whole thing is, being spiritual beings, a big part of our existence has been this stripping of our spiritual nature and neglecting of our spiritual nature. And when you do come back to it, it's this battle, this internal battle between the human and the spirit, which really it's the spirit, because the spirit is the soul. That is what's eternal. The human is just this experience, right? I mean, the human is meaningful, valuable, but what is that core component? Is the soul, is the spirit. And so it just became completely like a light bulb flipped, and it was like, you don't have to involve yourself. And then I started getting some messages about emotions and stuff like that, and how we allow ourselves to get emotionally involved in the illusion that this universe has, essentially, not this universe, but this societal structure has created as it relates to our universe, guys. So let's break this down so that y'all can understand. So essentially, the structure, I was getting a very, very clear and direct example of the structure being this limiting force by the police coming and telling me to move, right? That was like the universe trying to scream at me in that moment. And then the people driving crazy, I mean, I was like in the city part, and it was just like, wow, this is all there is. Like, people are really just driving around here, walking around, doing this materialist stuff, and I can't even sit at the park and just enjoy nature itself. That's how I was really feeling when I was driving, right? So I was just very much feeling this disdain from the human aspects and like the spiritual aspects, because for me, it was like a spiritual experience to be going to the park, to be going to this little nature spot, being next to the water. Like, that's what I wanted. And I just felt like that part of me was being like rejected, and I had to like sit in all of this traffic to try to even find another spot when there's probably not another spot. Like, it was just a whole bunch going on, and I was just having this real dilemma where I was just feeling very agitated, not necessarily even defeated, just very agitated, guys. And so, the message when it came up, it really just talked about how we don't have to get emotionally involved in all this stuff. We don't have to get involved in the pieces moving around, guys, because this is where the real message came in. Essentially, it says God and the divine are moving pieces around for us always. creating divine orchestrations for us always. Do not get involved in the external of it. Do not lose your truth when you see these pieces moving around. The ultimate truth that you need to remember is who you are, this spiritual being having a human experience, right? That is the resounding truth that should keep you through any challenge, any obstacle. So today for me, I asked, okay, how could the switch have been flipped? And it would have been, okay, when I was asked to move away from the park, all right, I would have gotten to center and been like, okay, I'm clearly not supposed to be at this spot right now. Clearly, I'm supposed to go somewhere else. Clearly, God has planned this for me. I set intentions. I'm connected. It's all good. And I would have remembered that connection instead of separating it in that moment to go to this very human experience and focusing in, honing in only on the aspects that I felt took me away from my spirituality, right? So in the act of focusing and honing in on that, I got enveloped in the illusion. I invested time and energy into the illusion by driving around and being in this upset energy instead of realizing that there is no higher power governing me other than God, my spiritual source, the source of all that is. There is no societal structure governing me, and that's the illusion. And when we invest into those illusions, that is when we lose our truth. That is when we step out of alignment. And truthfully, if I had this knowledge prior to this event, then I would have known that this message was coming from it, and I would have been like, okay, but obviously it wouldn't have triggered me the same if I had this inner knowing. And that exactly speaks to this notion of you do not have to invest yourself into the illusion. You can invest yourself into a more spiritual, open-minded, widened perspective of the world and understanding that everything is actually working out for you. But when we invest into the illusion, we go down the rabbit hole. It affects our energy. It affects our alignment. So like for me, if there was another place for me to have been for real, like if the message, if this was a different scenario and I wasn't meant to get this message, but I was meant to be led to a different location, then I would have missed that and I would have become misaligned and I would have had to repeat this cycle in some way. And how would I become misaligned? Because I was not resounding with my truth. I was stuck in this energy of, I'm so annoyed. This is terrible. I hate the structure. This is terrible, blah, blah, blah. And so I was driving with that intention around. And it was just being reflected right back to me. Like all the bad drivers, all the people that I thought was being crazy, blah, blah, blah. You know, it was just, that's where my energy very much was. And that's where it was going to lead me. Now, had I been supposed to go to some place, I would have found inspiration in the adventure. I would have been like, okay, this is great. Like, it's fine. I'm taking a pause from eating. Maybe my body needed to digest a little bit more before I could eat or whatever. Maybe there was a better location or whatever, you know, or maybe I would have met up with someone, or maybe I avoided like a catastrophic, what was I just saying? A catastrophic event over by the water. Something like that, right? If we remember our truth and we do not invest into the illusion, we become powerful, become sovereign, we become orchestrators and creators of our own reality, guys. So that was like the biggest message that really came through for me today. It's going to change the way that I navigate through this world entirely. And that's really important because one of the biggest things that I have been doing in this little fast is detaching from my worries. So that's really what the fast is detaching from things that bring me worry, that take the focus off of self. And that's kind of what this message with the whole driving around thing is about too, because we allow the external things, we like place our energy and get involved in the external happenings and essentially taking the attention off of the self, when the attention quite literally always needs to be on the self, because if we're able to tune into our truth, then we can have compassion for the things happening outside of us, right? Because compassion starts right in here first. So like I was saying, basically this whole fast for me has been about detaching from the things that bring me worry. Now, the societal structure has been created in such a way that we are riddled with worry, so it takes you away from the self. And I know like a lot of people can't just decide to detach from the things that bring them worry, but you can start honing into this ability to detach from those worries. And the more that you're able to do that and find your truth, the less that these worries are able to affect you, and the more that you're able to step onto your path. So for example, right now I'm not in school, which I do not like school at all. This is my last semester for my undergrad. I'm just getting it done. I don't want to be there, whatever. But I understand that my truth is whatever this last semester is going to bring me is going to be pivotal, especially for the changes that I'm making internally right now. So this last semester is going to be pivotal. It's going to solidify my truth even more. It's going to progress me in unforeseen ways. That is my truth. And I could stick with the truth that I had yesterday, literally before this realization that, oh my God, school's going to be terrible. And, I'm just going to have to get through it. Like, even the mentality of the fact that we have to envelop our energies into things that are unenjoyable and that we just have to get through it. It's a part of the illusion. And I would have been investing my energy into that illusion going back to school. And trust and believe that God would have reflected that back to me. The universe would have reflected that back to me. It would have felt like I was only getting through it instead of making progress on my path. But that is exactly why these newfound beliefs and things are emerging from within the depths of me. Just making sure it's recording. I would have literally started crying if it wasn't. But essentially that's like the biggest message here. We need to not forget our spiritual source, the source of who we are and the source of our truth, because that will literally get us through each and every single challenge that this world places in front of us. Now, like I was saying, let's get into the society part. The society that we are in has literally made it impossible, virtually impossible, because it's actually not impossible, but with the illusion and the conditioning, without the expanded mindset, then you wouldn't be able to come to this realization. So I hope that this is opening some people up. But it has made it kind of impossible for us to focus our attention inwards because we have so many external worries. When we're focusing on these external worries, it literally propels the energies of authenticity, of creativity, of inspiration, of wisdom away from us, right? I know this for a fact because I had been very much riddled in my worries for the past 22 years of my life until literally this week when I started this fast, and my mind has been expanded in unforeseen ways, and I can't believe that I was living the way that I was living in all of these worries and all of this despair and all this turmoil, right? Consistently. And I had this notion that I couldn't detach from it, when really that itself was an illusion, because really the best way to detach from it was from going within to figure out my own sense of truth, and then working from that place to then let my creativity flow, let my authentic intuition emerge without the influence of the worries and the things that bring me worry, right? But once again, this is not only like in romantic situations or on Instagram or things like that, or with your schoolwork or with your work. It's not only with those things. It's like literally the day-to-day stuff, like, society being able to put these like harsh and problematic like security measures in and things like that, and putting these harsh restrictions on what we're able to do. Those things can bring you worry, but that's all a part of the system. That's all a part of the plan, essentially. And we have to make sure that we're not investing in that illusion. We need to anchor in this frequency of truth, because as soon as we resound with our truths, the lies, the deception, the illusions that have been created by the powers that be begin to be illuminated even further, guys. So this is a big thing that we're doing here. We're making big strides, making big changes. You're a part of it. If you're watching this, anchor in that new frequency of understanding that you are a spiritual being. Nothing is happening on a real material level, to be honest, of influence. Nothing on the material plane of influence is really happening. Everything is happening on that spiritual level, and as soon as you connect to that, you see that the pieces are all being moved for you, and you allow the insights to come in that need to come in, that are going to keep you on your path, that are going to keep you in alignment with your path. The illusion has been created to elude you from your path, obviously, to take you away from your path, but this is a time where we're using that illusion. We're using the illusion to remember who we are. So don't let yourself get, enveloped in the illusion. Don't invest yourself into that. Don't make it your problem, because it takes you out of alignment every time. And today has been a great example of that for me. And I'm feeling even more empowered than ever because of this newfound truth. It has only helped me to anchor in more truth when the powers that be would have benefited from me detaching from my spiritual essence, from my connection to the Creator. So I hope this resonated with someone. I hope this message was helpful to someone possibly going through a similar energy in some way. But I will go ahead and get off of this and see you guys next time. Once again, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It is a blessing to be connecting with you. It is an honor to be sharing these messages with you. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys.